One of my literary heroes is Robert Pirsig, who wrote Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. I happen to own a motorcycle, a Victor, the Hawkeye Victory motorcycle, as a matter of fact. It has Kinnick Stadium airbrushed on the gas tank. But I think it's a blend of take one day at a time and appreciate it, but also do adequate and intense planning for the future. Well, this year in the legislature, we cut the session from 100 days to 80 days. We actually finished in 79 days, 1 day improvement on the goal. It was like around the world in 80 days. A typical day would be showing up at the Capitol about 6:30 in the morning and hopefully getting back to my hotel room about midnight. It moves very quickly. You're meeting with constituents, you're reviewing legislation, you're having numerous meetings, and you're having hearings. And that was what good this year. It was consolidated, but we took time to listen. The negative is sometimes things move so fast that constituents didn't have adequate time to react to some of the bills coming through. Married my wife Lynette, and the daughter's Ellie is 12. And it's interesting to know that a young woman of 12 years old knows everything there is to know about the world. Part of the preteen growing up is what I've heard. And Anna is 10 years old. Ellie's in 6th grade, Anna in 4th, and they go to Coralville Central. We do have 2 dogs at home, also girls, Shay and Sophie, 2 rescued golden retrievers that keep our house rather lively. And so, we try to make sure we set aside time for family things, especially when session is over. But they stay real in tune with what issues are going on. In fact, right now they're very deep into the school redistricting, where they're going to go to high school, how that affects everyone in North Liberty and Coralville and east part of Iowa City. And they stay active. But my girls are, Ellie and Anna are just, it's amazing how smart a 12 and 10-year-old can be. And sometimes it's also amazing how smart alecky that a 10 and 12-year-old can be too. But they're great kids, and it's good to be home from session. I've always been a corridor person. I grew up in Marion, Iowa, and graduated from Marion High School. And then I also graduated from the University of Northern Iowa. And after I graduated from college, I migrated just a little bit south there to Johnson County, because obviously it attracts people and it's a great area to live in. So my parents still live in Marion, Iowa, and just kind of set roots here in Johnson County, and certainly have enjoyed it ever since. Lynette has worked with family preservation and worked with teen parents and worked with families that are going through struggles with jobs and staying together. And she has an MSW, and she's counseled families for years. And as part of my job as a program director with the community college, I worked with the welfare reform program for a number of years, and we met through work. And so meeting through work and work with case management with families kind of evolved into, well, now we're happily married and been married for double-digit years and have a great family. One time, when we were in session, I had called home to talk to the family, and it happened to be Valentine's Day. And so I talked to the girls and wished them happy Valentine's Day and that I loved them. And then they passed the phone to Mom. And then, so Mom had the phone, and I said, well, happy Valentine's Day. Sorry I can't be there because we're in session. And I mentioned a few romantic things, as sometimes a husband will mention to his wife. Well, there was a complete silence on the other end. And my oldest daughter, Ellie, goes, Dad, did you know that you were on speakerphone? And my wife said, way to go, Dave. And so so after that was a couple of years ago. So every time I call home now from session, I make sure that we're not on speakerphone. And the girls for a couple of weeks were going, ew, Dad, gross. So that's one of the favorites that from the recent couple of years. Honestly, being a state representative is one of those aspirations. I've reached that. I truly enjoy the work and invest my time in representing people. Probably one of those pie in the sky aspirations is to finish a book. You know, I've had notes from years gone by, always trying to write the great American novel, sitting in my desk drawer, probably about this thick. And someday I hope to consolidate those pages and make a literary piece out of it. There's not a lot of spare time in this line of work, but what I do, yes, I do. And I try to read as often as I can something other than the legislation coming through, but most of the time is reading information that comes from constituents or websites that have opinions or information on any given topic. But I try to read, you know, Marley was a book I read a couple of years ago, and then a couple books on politics by Robert Wallace, and some of the newer books, and I reread Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance about once every 2 years, even though it was given to me as an assignment from my religion professor at University of Northern Iowa, and I hated it then, but somehow aging out helps you appreciate it more, so I reread that book often.